When you get ready to cut, you grab your cutting tools box, take out the apron, and put on your apron. Open the safety tools kit, put on your safety glasses. Next, grab your own tape measure and hang it from your apron. Next, take a marker from the cutting tools kit and find a marker pocket right there. Take out the carpet knife, and that's going to go in my right pocket, your left. Take out your box cutter, and that's going to go in the middle pocket. Finally, take out your yellow cheese grater surform shaver, and that goes in my left pocket, your right. ViteWall panels come 4x8, 48 inches wide by 96 inches tall. So the first demonstration I'm going to show you is how to cut out the height. Now, height's an important measurement. If you look here, from here over is 48 inches. But if you notice the ceiling, it slopes. This ceiling here is a little bit higher than there. And we call that plumb. Plumb means not perfectly square. Plumb, P-L-U-M-B. So the first thing you do to measure the height is you measure the height in two places. You start from the right, and the height on the right is 94 inches. And then you go to the left, and the left is 93¼ inches. And it's okay if you want to write it down. I just have a memory for numbers, so I'll remember. So 94 inches height on the right to a 93¼ on the left. So now we're going to cut the height out of this 4x8 panel. To recap, the right side was 94 inches, the far left was 93¼ and then off camera I measured the middle and it's 93½. So from your point of view, we start at 94, in the middle it's a little bit lower, a ½ inch lower, and on the far left, your left, it's 93¼ So now I'm going to make the dots so I know where to put the straight edge. So the first one is at 94 inches. The second in the middle is at 93½. And the last on the side is 93¼ Now, if you notice, I just said the second one is in the middle, and I arbitrarily said the middle is right here. So if we want to technically find the middle would be right about here. So I was a couple inches off, but it's really about the same line. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now that I've made my 3 dots, I take my cutting straight edge, which we provide, and I line it up on the dots. You can kind of see the slight fall. And then I take my spring clamp and clamp it. And the other one, the other spring clamp, is to clamp the other side, but I'm kind of lazy with 2. Plus, when you clamp 2, you're constantly walking around the table. So I'll show you a little trick I use. Also, with the carpet knife, what's cool about it is it's retractable. So I unscrew this, retract it, but if I want to use the blade, I unscrew, shove it out, and then retighten it. So you'll also see you really have to work at intentionally cutting yourself. I'm never going to touch the blade. My hand's always on the handle. But it's like cutting an apple. Like I remember as a kid, my mom would cut an apple towards her, and her rule was no blood on the knife. But as kids, like as teenagers, we always had to cut away from us. So like a knife is dangerous, right? Yes and no. This the same way. You have to work. You'd have to really be foolish and take your eye off the ball to cut yourself. But properly followed, like cutting an apple, you're going to be fine. So once you have either one clamp, like I do it, and then what I do over here is I like to hold the straight edge. It saves me a trip around the table. So got my carpet knife out, and now I don't want to hold it up like a straight. I want to go about, I don't know, up and down. It's like 90 degrees. This is probably like a 70 degree. So all I do is I'm just trying to draw a line. And then once I have the line drawn, I take the straight edge out, and if you look at the panel, the line is drawn. So now, the operative thing, what I'm doing right now is I'm feeling for the table, because I always like to cut over a table. This is not like cutting drywall. Cutting drywall, people cut over dead space and then they snap it. You don't want to do that with ViteWall. So I always like to cut over a table. And now I hold my blade. What's doing the cutting is the corner. So you don't want to hold your hand like this. You don't want to be flat. You want to be about a, if you look at my elbow, it's about a 45-degree angle. And now this is slow and steady wins the race. So you want to go about this speed. It's going to take you about 4 to 5 passes. And this is considered the hard cut because we're cutting across the panel. Oops, you don't want to do that. You want to follow the line. And again, slow and steady wins the race. All right. There we go. All right. As this shows, using the carpet knife, very safe. Cut through the hard cut in 3.5 passes. So now to cut the right panel, I measured, and this wall here that I built is not perfect at 48 inches. It's really 42 3/4. So the principle on cutting the lengthwise, and this is the easy cut in a lot of people's minds, is I measure out, I make a dot, 42 3/4. So you see that right there? All right. And I take the tape measure away, take my carpet knife, and now I put the blade on the dot. And you see how the blade tucks into the corner here? You see that? Let me take the blade out. It tucks into the corner. I'll do it once more. Tucks into the corner. Now the corner acts as a guide. And again, slow and steady. When customers see this, they go, I can do that. Not only that, I want to try. That looks easy. And it is. Slow and steady wins the race. So nice and slow. And look at that. You can already tell it's cut through one layer. You cut through the other layer of the ViteWall. Again, you don't want to hold your elbow down, not up like this, about a 45-degree angle. You want to keep this trailing hand ahead of the blade. You don't want to follow it right here. I'd cut myself. So again, and I always like to cut over the table. So get the blade in, and now, and you hear it cutting. And again, slow and steady wins the race. And just like that, it's cut. Then I always come back here, put away my blade. So one thing I just noticed, this left corner has a piece of quarter round molding in it that I need to notch the material out. And this quarter round molding, you could take a tape measure and get specifics, but I think it's about 5/8 of an inch. So I go back to this is the left side, and I measure about, I'm gonna fudge a little bit and say it's about 3/4 of an inch wide and about 3/4 of an inch tall. So right about there, okay? All right, so now I grab my straight edge, and so we're just gonna draw a line out to the point. I didn't go through. All right, and then no straight edge. But this is why you cut over a table, because, you know, after ViteWall's done installed, you throw a tablecloth over it, you'd never know. So just gonna rock it back and forth. And then there. All right. And now these little points you can soften with the surform shaver. I like to just round them a little bit, and this also allows me to again, this is just a style. You know, the corners aren't sharp, but you know, this surform shaver made by Stanley Yellow allows you to clean up little imperfections, round corners, and that sort of thing.